Which is better, a technical approach to grading or a creative approach? You probably answered the latter, and you're not wrong. Creativity is vital in any grade, and there's absolutely no way to succeed without it. But I have another question. Why do we see these two things as fundamentally adversarial? Today we're going to take a look at this fallacy and some of the key reasons for its persistence. The first reason that we tend to see the creative and the technical as adversaries is because we're harboring faulty concepts. Now, most of us with a background in the arts have a decent concept of creativity. At the very least, we know what it feels like. It's intuition, it's improvisation, it's the feeling of something moving through you rather than you're necessarily summoning or steering it. So I'm going to define creativity as the ability to produce a desired result via subconscious means. It's when we get into the technical that our concept really begins to falter. What does the word technical bring up for you? Shuttle launches? Programming languages? Electrical engineering? While these are certainly technical subjects, they don't really embody the word. The dictionary defines technical simply as referring to a particular subject, art, craft, or its techniques. And technique, in turn, simply refers to a particular way of performing a task. So, at the ground level, all we're really talking about when we refer to the technical is technique, or the ability to produce a desired result via conscious means. So you can start to see already as we refine our concepts, this supposed gap between the technical and the creative is already beginning to close. The next reason that we tend to see the creative and the technical as adversaries is good old-fashioned fear. Even if we understand that upping our technical game is really just a matter of developing technique, actually doing that can still be scary, and it can still be frustrating, and it can still be tedious. Where do we even begin? Where do we seek out the answers that we need? How can we tell if we're making any progress at all? You can avoid all these uncomfortable questions by simply asserting that all you need is your creativity and your eyes, and anyone who says different isn't a true artist. And as we're going to find out in the next section, you can actually go quite a way working in this manner. But choosing ignorance is far from a cost-free proposition, and ultimately we owe more. We owe more to our images, we owe more to our collaborators, and we owe more to ourselves as artists. The final reason we tend to see the technical and the creative as adversaries is that we've never experienced their harmony. Thus far, we've been talking about the technical and the creative, but we need to introduce a third idea now that's just as important, honestly more important. That's skill. Now, the dictionary defines skill as the ability to perform a task well. We're going to sharpen that definition to define skill as the ability to produce a desired result using all available means, meaning conscious and subconscious. I can remember the very first grade that I did in DaVinci Resolve. I had no idea how to use the software, but I had a vision for the film. So despite having no technique, I was able to achieve a good part of that vision with my creativity. In hindsight, I can tell you that that grade took me far too long. It lacked consistency, and it didn't look nearly as good as it could if I'd married that creative spark to just a little bit of fundamental technique. So, having since developed that technique, this is the secret that I want to share with you. Creativity and technique not only don't subtract from each other, they don't even add linearly together, they multiply. The more you learn, the more you wonder. And the more you wonder, the more you stimulate your subconscious, and the more your subconscious replies with more ideas. So I want to encourage you not to be satisfied to meet a bare minimum of skillful practice of whatever you're doing, and learn, develop technique, ask questions, learn new things. And what you're going to find is as your technical chops increase, your creative chops are going to increase right along with them. And as those things begin to multiply, you're going to see exponential gains in your work. I hope you can see now that color grading ultimately isn't about technique or creativity as much as it's about the way they interact to produce skill, to produce a favorable result. The more technique we have, the more we learn, the more we know, the more we understand, the more we stimulate our subconscious, and the more we develop that muscle. So paradoxically, the more we know, the less we need to rely on our creativity, but the more creativity we have to offer to any situation.